What's up, guys? It's John at National Sports Entertainment, and I wanted to, of course, go into tonight's game and what I think it means for Game 6. And we've been on target with this one, which has been nice. I feel like, for me, it just makes sense that Boston was going to win this game and force a Game 6, and most likely, at home especially, win pretty decisively. Now, it's interesting. I went into this in my last video for anyone that didn't see it. A very interesting historical trend between the Celtics and the reason I think they're going to force a Game 7 here. But yeah, they came out and the superstars looked really good, and even Derek White, they looked better. They looked like they were just the superior team, which is how they're being positioned. Again, as I said in Game 4, and I'll say it again, even though I had the Celtics winning, I still believe the Heat are going to win the series. I think it's going to go 7 games, though. When I said that, people, was kind of clowning me, rightfully so. You don't have a lot of series go 7 games when it's 3-0. But again, the Celtics are a team that you can actually believe it with, because they're playing a team that they are better than, and they have 3 superstars. You can argue, between if Jimmy or Tatum's better, but I don't think there's much of an argument. I think the narrative is behind Jimmy, but Tatum, in my opinion, completely negates Jimmy, and that leaves, guys like Smart and Brown. They're just a better team, against Miami. That being said, I do think it's going to come down to coaching. So, yeah, Boston got the win. They got the cover. Now, as I said, what I thought was very interesting, and I'm just going to show it again because Melo said something that I thought was interesting. And he said it after I put out my video going into how, he retired. And the 3 teams that came back from 0-3, because he retired like right after the Celtics went down 0-3, were the Knicks, Nuggets, and Blazers. The 3 teams he played with, the 4th one being the Lakers, who obviously just got bumped. So I found that interesting. And then they asked him, when was his happiest moment, essentially. And he, or something to that effect, or like, now that you've had a long career. They had a quote where he said, the best moment was in 2003 when I took the stage and shook the hand of Daniel Stern. So again, very interesting. He's saying 2003, and that was the last time we had a team come back in the NBA. So I looked at a few things, and to me it's more symbolism. I don't look as much into the gematria. I'll look into numbers if they keep coming up. But yeah, nothing's getting me off of 7 games. I really do believe it. I'll look into the lines in Miami. Obviously, I'll probably put out a separate video just because those lines might change significantly. They might not be where I'm expecting them. I'm expecting Miami to be about 3.5-point favorites. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, this is what I think is going to happen. The Celtics, their superstars are able to get them to Game 7, where it comes down to who's the better coached team, and I don't think it's close. I think that's where Spoelstra is going to come through. But yeah, so nothing crazy. I just did find it interesting. Again, what's really interesting is the Mavericks were in this position last year, and sure, they were playing a better team, but still, like, they weren't playing that much of a better team, and they were down 3-0. And Nick Wright, who's one of I think he's got, the guy just talks like a wrestler or a wrestling manager, so hilarious to listen to that guy and the guys he's with, Broussard, Wilds, all them. But he was really lobbying for the possibility of Luka coming back because he was so clutch. And they were just laughing him off. And then there's 3-1, and he's like, okay, well, it's not 3-0 anymore. It's 3-1 now. And they're like, well, it doesn't matter. It was 3-0. Boston, it's funny, 3-1, and there were already narratives saying, this is a more important win for the Heat than the Celtics, which is laughable because it's more important for the team that's going to get bumped. But they were really saying, like, with the Celtics win, the Heat become underdogs, and now the Vegas odds have the Celtics as a better chance of winning the whole thing, so than the Heat at least. So I find it all very interesting. Like, they're not treating this 3-0 comeback like they've treated any other 3-0 comeback that I've seen them. They didn't try, like the Lakers, they were laughing. They're like, they might get another game, but that'll be it. And here, they're just like, yeah, the Heat have to be careful because if Boston wins, then they just got one more, and it's a tied series. And that's basically always going to be the logic when you're down 3-0. So really interesting. Really makes me think Game 6 is that much more of a lock. So I'm really so far liking Boston and then Miami for Game 7. And I'll go into why I really believe they would not have the Celtics beat the Heat, come back and win. You might say, well, Bill Russell, it's perfect timing. Possible, but there's one reason, a pretty obvious one, regarding Jimmy, that I just don't think that they would have the Celtics come back and win 7 games. But I am still sticking to my theory that they force Game 7, which, again, is still pretty historic. It'd be the first time in 20 years, and ironically, it'll be the year Melo was drafted. So I don't think Melo is a coincidence in any of this. I think it's all very deliberate. All the different people that retire at certain times. You have interesting deaths. So, I know a lot of people are probably still on Boston because of Bill. But yeah, I do think that the Heat just makes sense to close it out in Game 7. I think once Boston ties it up, you're going to have so many people on them just assuming it's a wrap. And it's going to be interesting. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. Like I said, I see talking heads and sometimes they change my mind. But as of now, on the 27th, I don't see why the Celtics aren't going to win that game. The question comes down to if they cover, and it depends. Are they going to mess with us and make it like the Celtics a favorite, or are they going to have the Heat as a favorite as they have been at home? So we'll have to see where that goes. But yeah, I think this is going to be a very interesting and historic Eastern Conference Finals, which is nothing surprising when you have these two teams. For the last several years, they've been in these kind of positions. So it should be interesting. And as I always say, take care and happy earning.